It's tough being last. You've heard all of these stories, you've heard all the accolades, and certainly they're well-deserved. While I was sitting there tonight, I found another connection. Tonight's catcher's night. Gordy Losey, Pete Losey, Jack Hines was a catcher at Hartford Public, Clyde Waters, and me. So, I mean, there's something to say about running the show from behind the plate, I guess. They're not always the tools of ignorance. The other thing that I was thinking about tonight was I didn't know, because baseball's been spoken about a lot tonight, I didn't know if they went back in the records and found out where I used to bat for having me last tonight. I don't know if that was part of that or not, but they're putting me at the last position. Maybe that was it. Also, in sitting there tonight, I was just astonished by the things that people have done in this town. And when you think about the thousands of athletes and people that have been involved in athletics in our community, to be honored to be one of the 60 people that have been chosen for this Hall of Fame, I mean, it's truly, truly an honor. And I obviously thank the committee for selecting me to be a part of that. My message is going to be a little bit different tonight. I only have 5 minutes, and everyone has done a great job tonight in staying close to that, so hopefully you're not getting too tired and you'll listen to me and put up with me for a few minutes tonight. But I'd like to obviously start by congratulating my fellow classmates for the class of 2003 and all the people that are here to see those people. I want to congratulate Jack Hines, certainly on an award well-deserved. The thing about coaching and just being up here is you never achieve anything by yourself. And that message has come through many, many times tonight. You want to start with your family, and that's who I'd like to start with first. The thing about coaching is if you're going to be involved as a head coach, especially in football, and I'll talk about football because there seems to be every other sport that's been talked about tonight, you better have, if you're married, you better have someone that's going to support you. Because there are tons of meetings, tons of film breakdown. You're dealing with 50 or 60 kids at a time, a lot of different positions, different things that have to happen, and you're trying to create a family atmosphere. I can't tell you how fortunate I am to have a wife, Joanne, who's been with me for 37 years and supported me in every possible way. Whether it be feeding the team, and think about that, okay? Whether about giving advice or just being a mother to so many kids. Certainly, I just want to thank her publicly for doing that. Family is very important to me, and this is what we try to do with our teams always. We try to create a family atmosphere. And I want to thank and acknowledge my family that's here tonight. My son Mike is unable to be here tonight. He's in California. But my daughter Stacy and her husband Steve are here. My son Steve and his wife Melanie, Dan and Tricia, my brother and his wife, my sisters and their husbands. I appreciate them coming here. Family was always important to us, and there's two people that aren't here tonight that any of you that followed Bristol Eastern probably remember. One was my dad, who spent many, many times, he was our biggest critic. As you know, any of you that have been involved in any athletic activity, you went home, you found out what you did right, and you found out what you did wrong by listening to your dad. The other person was my mom. And any of you that ever went to the games heard my mom. You didn't even have to go to the game, and you heard my mom. It was incredible because, you know, we always said that she projected her voice fairly well. And she never believed what we were talking about until we changed from tape, from film to video. All right, when you're on a film, obviously there's no sound. All of a sudden you go to a videotape and there's sound, and I still remember our first Booster Club meeting that my mom came to and said, "Oh my God, is that me?" It was just unbelievable. Obviously, she was very vocal, very supportive, and I'm sure there are some officials that still remember who she is. The next group I'd like to thank are the people at Bristol Eastern. I know Dennis was very proud of Bristol Central, and he should be. He's done a great job there, and he's always done well there. But I'm very proud of my association with the coaches and people from Bristol Eastern. They're a tremendous group of people. They've worked hard. They're professional. They do a wonderful job with the kids. And the city of Bristol is very fortunate to have those people. A lot of those people have been there a long time and dedicated their lives to your kids. And really, you should thank them for that. They have done an unbelievable job, and I am just pleased to have been a part of that. In a game like football, you certainly can't do it by yourself. There are so many complexities, so many positions to play, so many things to teach that you have to have a staff to do that. And any success that we had is certainly due to the coaches that we had, the staff that we had. And I'd just like to publicly acknowledge them. I hope I didn't forget anybody. I'm sure the first guy, you know, he's been around forever. He's probably the most loyal assistant you could possibly have. A tremendous line coach. The kids loved him. The kids feared him. He did a wonderful job for me, and I'd like to thank him, Mike Moran. Some of the others certainly, and I don't want to, in the interest of time, I don't want to talk about each one of them because they've done a wonderful job for me, but some of the other people that have worked with me, not for me, were Paul Castelline, Jack Krampitz, Rich Klett, Bob Rotler, Tony and Dwight Floyd, Bill Highland, Phil Tata, Dan LeBeau, Rick Kroos, Mike Giovinazzo, and last but not least, Tom Bruni. Again, my thanks goes out to those people because without them, we would not have had any success. Coaching football by yourself is impossible. So certainly those men have meant a lot to me and to what we've tried to do. Of course, there's the players. Too many to name. Great relationships that were built over the years. And it's so great to see a lot of them here tonight. And we certainly enjoyed the successes and agonized together with the losses. Again, the unique thing about football is you play once a week. So you're not playing 2 days later so you can forget about what you did. You've got a week to get ready for the next situation. So again, I acknowledge the players, all the booster club, and all of the parents that helped me. My message, I guess, if I can take just a few minutes, is I tried to think about this tonight. Why did I coach? Coaching for me was a passion. It was something that consumed my every thought. The unique thing about coaching is that you're presented with challenges every day, every week. And what happens is that you're judged every Friday or Saturday as to whether you were successful or not. So your job as the coach is to put the kids into a situation where they're going to fail. The more times they fail, the better they're going to be. And if you think about that, that's so true. You have to put them in situations that are going to be adverse for them so that they know what to do. We were fortunate to win more games than we lost, okay? But the ultimate reward is knowing you had an influence on their lives. The question is, were they better off for being in our program? If the answer was yes, then I consider myself a success. When I meet former players on the street, supermarket, or somewhere around town, and I see that they're successful fathers, businessmen, lawyers, doctors, plumbers, accountants, mayors, electricians, coaches, all walks of life, then I know that I've had a role in their development. The last thing I'd like to say tonight kind of brings us back with Thanksgiving just around the corner. This is kind of for all the people that have ever played football, played in that game, whether it be St. Paul, Bristol Eastern, Bristol Central. I'd like to take you back, if I could, to your glory days and just bring you through the memory, because when I asked myself why I coached and what I did, this is one of the things that comes through all the time. When you think about Thanksgiving that's coming up, it's probably the only time in high school, and maybe for some the only time in their life, where they're the center of attention, where 3,000 to 6,000 sets of eyes are going to be on them and what they do, where everything they do for that particular day is important. So for those that have played and those that wish they had played, I'd just like you to just dream with me for a second, if you would. Kind of close your eyes and think back. I can visualize it as though it was yesterday, and it's 15 years since I coached now, which is incredible to me. Okay, just to think about that. But I can still picture, if you're thinking about that game, the last week of practice and how you have the build-up so that it gets to be the last day. Finally, it gets to that Wednesday before the big game on Thanksgiving, and you walk into school, and you walk into the gym, and the whole gym is loaded with banners everywhere. And if you're a kid, you're looking for your name. And for maybe one time, your name is up on the wall in front of the whole school. Then after the rally is over, you go out to your last practice. It's a little bit emotional. You're out there. It comes to the end of the practice. You've gone through everything that you want to do. And then it comes time for the last lap, is what one of the things that we did at Bristol Eastern. And as the seniors would take their lap around the field and then run through a gauntlet of kids at the end, you could just see the emotion building in each one of those kids. And if that wasn't enough for preparation, they would go home, come back in a few hours, and then we would have a meeting at night where each of the seniors would get up and be able to tell what football and what our program meant to them. We'd have a little pizza, talk about that, and it was an extremely emotional time. They would go home then, try to get some sleep, come back the next morning, and again, those of you that had played, you can visualize. Can't you see this right now? Can you see yourself walking into the locker room on Thursday morning? And you can just smell the mustiness of the pads that are still there. You can just feel yourself getting into the room. You look around and you see those teammates, and you just know that you've got a mission. You've got something that you want to do. Finally, after all the coaches trying to prepare you again, you want to just get on with it. You finally get on the bus and you take the ride to Muzzy Field. It's silent. No one speaks a word. When you get to Jacob Street, which is the way we used to go, it was amazing because you'd see all the cars that were parked. And you know for one time there's got to be an incredible crowd there. So you drive up Jacob Street, you drive down to Muzzy Field. You get off the bus and you can still hear the cleats as you're walking on the cement going into the locker room. And anybody who's been in the locker rooms at Muzzy Field, you know they have a distinct odor at Muzzy Field. Okay? There is something there about, you know where you are. You know where you are. And finally you get out in the field, you go out there, and there's thousands of people out there. People are marching around the field, the bands are playing, etc. Okay? It's an experience that you don't forget. Finally, the game comes. I'm sure you all remember what happened in your game. I'm sure you remember how you played. I'm sure there are certain things in the game that you remember. Here's the point of my story. The night before, I'm sure your coach told you, you can never go back. You can't go back and replay what you did. Is that a lesson for us to learn or what? I mean, this is not a dress rehearsal, what we're going through. This is the whole deal right here. This is the game. And that's what we tried to express to our kids. Give everything you have, do whatever you can, because you're not going to get a second chance. The scenario was what it was all about for me. It was a job that meant more than wins or losses. I want to thank you for recognizing me for my contribution to the people of Bristol. Thank you very much.